Okay, so I'm answering a question about how the data is collected. And the data is collected in a TXT file every day that the program is running. So if you start a data run, say on a Tuesday, and at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's going to take about 9 hours or maybe longer to finish up before it falls finally back to its minimum temperature in mode 3. And it may run into the next day. And then, of course, you're probably busy and you go to bed and you wake up. And so, you started a run at 4 o'clock on Wednesday and you wake up and look at it at 9 a.m. on Thursday, there's going to be thousands and thousands of rows where it's just sitting at that minimum temperature. And then you're ready to make some changes and then maybe, do another run. So you make some changes, you deploy it, and then you hit the 3-hour time ramp and you start another run. And then that runs, maybe you did it at 9:30 a.m. So that run, 12 hours later is 9 p.m. that night and you go look at it and you want to check it out. So how do you find the separation point between those two runs? Because it can be confusing with thousands of rows. So I'm going to go ahead and present my screen here. And I'm going to show you two runs. There. I'm going to show you two runs and two different times. So here is a run. That's the 31st. Here's a run on the 30th. 5:30 TXT, and here's all the data. And you can see that it flipped over from the previous day. It starts at 2800, goes down, 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 and then somewhere along here it's going to start a new run. How do I find that new run? All you have to do is do Control F, and you can search. And the thing to search for is NAN, because when you restart things, it sometimes doesn't synchronize exactly right away, and so it'll get an NAN, which is not a number. So it won't record immediately. It'll take a few temp cycles for everything to get synchronized. So all you have to do is search for NAN, and there it is. You can see that I ran down to 3000, and then I started a run, and I did something, and I changed it, and I started another run and did something and changed it, and then it spit out not a number, and then here's another run that I got going, and off I went. I was finally happy with my settings, and off I went. And I could even search for the next one right down there, and I stopped after. No, that's back to the beginning. So this run here, if I go all the way down to the bottom, there's other people in the house. What's up with that? There, you can see that I start a run there, right? And by having search for NAN, all the NANs are highlighted, so it's easy for me to pick out. So I ran down for 263, and then I started another run. And I ran down and ran down and ran down. There it goes, and my run is going. And I stopped at 596. So at the end of the day, at midnight, it was at row 596. And so then it started another data file. As soon as I got new data, it got a new data file, 531. And there it is. There's row 597, the very next temp cycle at midnight the next day. And I can go down and find the end of my run by searching for NAN. And there it is. I went down to 4,000 rows. And then clearly I messed something up. I pulled some wires out or something, but that run, that clearly didn't work. But that's my point, is that's how you can find the different runs. And that's why the data tips over into the next day. And you're just going to have to pull your runs out. So then what you do is you will have added all this data. Let me go back to my drive here. You will have added this data into a spreadsheet. And there's the 2895, right? From, that's the 30th, that's the 31st. Find the 30th. '28th, 28th, 29th, 29. Must have missed it right here. 31st. Oh, 30th right there. So there's 2895, and in the spreadsheet, 2895. And then I go all the way down. I want to see where the data starts on the 31st. It starts at 597. So if I go in here and I search for 597, Control F, 597, 14, 15 is a lot of them. So I'll just search in this row here, 597. I'll go down and look for it. You can see that my data is all appended. I don't need to go through this whole thing. It's all appended. I can search for NAN to find the start of a run. There's 169. There's another run there. And that's where I started getting all undefined and having some difficulty. So that's how you sort through the data so that you can think about graphing it. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the end of my presentation.